This is your spoiler alert. Please be advised, major spoilers ahead. Again, this is your spoiler alert. This is your spoiler alert. Please be advised, major spoilers ahead. Again, this is your spoiler alert.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your spoiler alert. Today we are doing Wonder Woman versus Wonder Woman. Now I know what you're thinking, what does that actually mean? Well, we're not doing a computer-generated simulation of what Wonder Woman versus Wonder Woman would be. Nah, that's been done before. What we're doing is we're comparing Wonder Woman number 1 with Wonder Woman number 2, which Wonder Woman number 2 is kind of number 2. So with that being said, guys, let's jump right into the thought process here on why Wonder Woman number 1 is good and why number 2 is number 2. Let's start with Wonder Woman number 1. Okay. Wonder Woman number 1 is pretty good. I would say the pacing was great. The storyline was okay. The only problem that I really have is the bad guy at the very ending, because it's not the human bad guys that we thought they were. But everything else makes up for that. There is this God Killer thing that is mentioned at the very beginning, and then we kind of reiterate it with the main character wondering about the God Killer, which is apparently a sword.
And the God Killer?
The God Killer?
The weapon that's strong enough to kill a god. Can I see it? Who would wield it?
I pray it will never be called to arms. But only the fiercest among us even could.
So you have Diana, who wants to know more about the sword, and that's okay. We get through that pretty quickly. She grows up, and then this guy comes in a plane and crashes in Themyscira, which is where the Wonder Women live. Well, the Amazons, which Diana is a Amazon, and they live in Themyscira. He crashes his plane there, and he's dressed up like a Nazi, but he says,
I'm one of the good guys, and those are the bad guys.
What?
The Germans, come on, we need to get out of here.
The Germans?
he's a good guy. Okay. He's also bringing Nazis with him. So, kind of confusing, but they are shooting at him. So a little scrimmage breaks out between the Amazons and the Nazis, apparently. So, we're kind of iffy on if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but eventually we do find out that he is working for British intelligence, even though he's an American, and America hasn't quite gotten into the war yet. At least that's where I think we're at in this part. But, okay, we'll go with that. The movie overall, the first movie, Wonder Woman, is a pretty decent movie. Again, pacing was great. Storyline was pretty solid. The only problem that I had was with Ares. Ares being the god of war. I thought that they were just going to let it be kind of, he's a myth, let him be a myth until we get another movie, and then have the big reveal that he's actually a thing and she was right the whole time. and let the bad guys who are already established be the bad guys who are already established. But no, we had to have a silly CGI battle.
Deserve your protection!
It's not about deserve. It's about what you believe.
Which wasn't all that bad, to be honest. It was, the costuming was a little silly, but the overall arc of the battle was decent. Is there a lot of blue and green screen in this? Yes, but they kind of made it work because the expectations of it being perfect is not really all that high with DC, because DC doesn't have Disney budget, and so I didn't expect it to be like super great, but at least it's not CGI mustache. With that being said, let's jump into number 2. Number 2 is a hot steaming pile of yeah. It's not a very good movie. The pacing is completely off on this. The storyline is pretty much utter garbage. Too much feminist woke stuff, and it's just no. Okay, so what do I mean with all of this negativity towards Wonder Woman 2? Well, one, they fired the 2 guys who made Wonder Woman 1 and brought in Patty Jenkins, who is the director of number 1, to co-write with a guy who wrote comic books. I don't know if he wrote any of the Wonder Woman comic books, but apparently not, because I kind of looked him up and didn't see anything specifically of him writing anything to do with the Wonder Woman comics, which doesn't make sense, because why, if you're going to pull someone to write from the comic book universe, they should probably have written something with the character that you're using in it. Patty Jenkins, again, I love her as a director. She did really well with the direction of the first Wonder Woman movie. Not a writer. It is set in the 80s, which is another big issue because the 80s has been used to death, plus it wasn't used well, and there have been a lot of good movies that, or decent movies that at least use the trope of the 80s well. Man, the characters themselves are okay. There are only 3 main characters in this movie. One being the love interest that they brought back from the first movie, which was kind of meh. The second one is the bad guy, and played by Pedro Pascal. He did a good job acting in this movie, but the character and its storyline was just not there. Not really his fault, because silly character, what are you going to do with it? Seriously, like, it just wasn't a good character. Him as an actor has been pretty good so far. I liked him in The Mandalorian. I know that he played Narcos. A couple other movies he's had side parts in. I don't think it was his fault. I think it was definitely the writing that made his character really silly and probably one of the worst in the DCEU, or DCMU. The DC movie universe. You also have Cheetah, which is played by Kristen Wiig. I don't really like. I have nothing against Kristen Wiig personally. Like, I don't care about, as you guys know, I don't care about actors' politics and political whatevers, and their religious beliefs. I have nothing against her personally. Her acting is still kind of SNL. A little over the top, a little bit too much of a ha-ha type thing. You don't get so much of that in this, but you do get her kind of over the topness that she brings to most of her movies. So in this one, she's kind of starts off as a nerd, and then there's this MacGuffin, which turns Pedro Pascal's character basically into a wishing stone.
Oh, come on! Oh! What a bunch of whiners. This is gonna suck up my whole life. You know what? Yes. 2-all! Yeah. There you go. Now everybody's happy.
And then she kind of wishes for herself, before that all happens, she wishes for herself to be more like Diana. So Diana, she gets basically all the powers of Wonder Woman because the stone doesn't delegate between Diana the person and Diana the superhero, because they are technically the same person. So it says, oh, she's a superpowered, awesome person, I'm going to make you a superpowered, awesome person. But there is the law of equivalent exchange. Any Full Metal Alchemist fan out there will know what I am talking about.
Humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain, something of equal value must be lost. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange.
What happens is basically her humanity gets taken away. She starts slipping into this kind of evil character, and then Pedro Pascal just wants to be awesome. He just wants to be the big thing. So he gets this MacGuffin, the stone, and he wishes for himself to become the stone. Okay. Moving on. The character's kind of over the top. The idea of the character is a little bit silly. His equivalent exchange is he keeps getting sicker and sicker the more people wish, so he's technically killing himself for getting what he wants. Law of equivalent exchange. So, Cheetah at some point changes her mind and decides that she wants to become an apex predator, which is okay, but it's not very good. And I did say there was 3 characters in here. Chris Pine, the main bad guy, and Mr. Creeper.
You need some help?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Come on, let me walk you home.
I'm not going home.
I'm just trying to be nice here. Hey! 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 Hey!
What are you doing?
Hey! I'm just trying to help you!
Let go of me! Let go!
There's this guy that pops up out of nowhere, starts hitting on Christina Wiig's character, the Cheetah's character, and then Wonder Woman steps in and beats him up. And then when Cheetah gets the powers of Wonder Woman, she...
Oh, yeah. I remember. Where were we?
Okay.
He's an asshole.
Yay. But that's the kind of one of the bigger issues with this movie is men are either the love interest, the bad guy, or the a-hole. Other than that, you have a really bad CGI scene with the main character, Wonder Woman and Cheetah. And Cheetah's in this kind of weird bodysuit thing, so you literally get a cat fight. that's pretty much resolved pretty quickly. The ending is pretty much rushed through. Wonder Woman finds out that she has this suit that was from this other Wonder Woman Amazonian person, and she wears it, and it's the gold Falcon suit. And so that comes to play for about all of 5 minutes during this cat fight, and then you really don't see it anymore, and it's just a hot mess. Which is another problem, is that they had this wish thing. We've seen that before in movies. And then it just kind of ends. Wonder Woman, wishes away her boyfriend, and everything kind of goes back to the way that it was before the movie even happened. Wonder Woman got her powers back, and then everything went back to as if this whole event never actually happened. And that's really what makes this a really bad movie. So, what one wins? Wonder Woman won. So, with that being said, guys, thank you for coming in. If you liked this tutorial, well, if you liked this review, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, because that helps the algorithm. Also, if you want to help out the algorithm, hit that little subscribe button. If you want to watch more videos, go ahead and hit this little box up here. And yeah, we will be back sometime soon. So, peace.